Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the HSS Liberty, watching the alien inspection team board his ship. The tall, blue-skinned Zentari walked with their usual proud attitude, looking down at everything human as if it was trash. "Commander." Vexthal led the group, his four eyes scanning the bridge with clear disgust. "This is your most advanced warship?" Vexthal asked in his clicking voice. "It looks like something my people built 300 years ago." Jake forced himself to smile. "We're proud of the Liberty, Commander. She served us well for 20 years. Dr. Lisa Carter stepped forward from her science station. She had been practicing this act for weeks. Would you like to see our main computer system? We've made some improvements based on Zentari designs. We studied." Vexthal's eyes lit up with interest. The Zentari loved showing off how much smarter they were than other species. "Yes, let us see what you have learned from your betters." Lisa led the group to what looked like a simple computer room. The screens showed basic information, and the controls looked old and clunky. What the aliens could not see were the quantum processors hidden behind the fake walls, or the AI systems that could process information faster than any Zentari computer. "This is our navigation computer," Lisa said, pointing to a machine that looked like it belonged in a museum. "It can calculate jump routes to nearby systems in just 6 hours. One of the younger Zentari laughed. 6 hours? Our personal computers can do that in minutes." "We're still learning," Jake said, keeping his voice humble. "Perhaps someday we'll be as advanced as your people." Lieutenant Paul Grant sat at the communication station, listening to radio chatter from the Zentari ships. His translation software was picking up everything they said to each other. Most of it was insults about human technology and intelligence. But one conversation made him pay closer attention. "The humans are more useless than we thought," one Zentari officer was saying. "Admiral Korth wants to propose removing them from the Vega trade routes. They're too primitive to handle the responsibility." Paul's jaw tightened, but he kept his face calm. The Vega routes were important to human colonies. Losing access would hurt millions of people. He made a mental note to report this to Admiral Rodriguez later. The inspection continued for 3 hours. The Zentari examined weapon systems that looked weak, but were actually powerful enough to destroy moons. They studied engines that appeared slow, but could travel faster than light in ways the aliens had never imagined. Every advanced system was hidden behind fake parts and clever programming. "Your shields are interesting," Vexthal said as they looked at the defense controls. "They seem to use modified Corvin technology." "Yes, sir," Lisa replied. "We bought the plans from a Corvin trader 5 years ago. We've been trying to understand how they work ever since." What she didn't mention was that human scientists had improved. The Corvin designed so much that a single human ship could now survive attacks that would destroy entire alien fleets. The fake shield generators they were showing would barely stop a meteor. As the inspection ended, Jake walked the aliens back to their shuttle. "Thank you for visiting the Liberty," he said. "We hope to learn much from working with the Zentari fleet." "Perhaps," Vexthal replied coldly. "Though I wonder if humans will ever be advanced enough to be true partners in the galaxy." After the shuttle left, Jake's crew gathered on the bridge. The fake smiles disappeared from their faces. "I wanted to show him what our real weapons could do," Paul muttered. "We all did," Lisa said. "But orders are orders. The masquerade must continue." Jake nodded. For 50 years, humanity had been pretending to be a middle-level civilization. They joined the Galactic Council as junior members, always asking for help and guidance from older species. The aliens saw humans as useful but not threatening, like smart children who might grow up someday. The truth was very different. Human technology was centuries ahead of anything in known space. Their ships could travel between galaxies in hours. Their weapons could crack planets in half. Their computers could predict the future with scary accuracy. But Earth's leaders had decided that showing this power would make other species either attack them or become completely dependent on them. So humans played the role of the struggling newcomers. They bought old alien technology and pretended it was amazing. They asked for advice they didn't need. They let other species feel superior while secretly protecting the entire galaxy from threats the aliens never even knew existed. Jake's communication system beeped with an incoming message from Earth. The signal was coded with the highest security level, which meant it came from Admiral Ben Rodriguez himself. "Captain Morrison," the Admiral's voice was serious, "we have a situation. The hegemony of Scar has declared war on the Galactic Council. Their fleet is moving toward human space." Jake felt his stomach drop. The Scar were one of the most aggressive species in the galaxy. They had been quiet for years, building up their military in secret. If they were attacking now, it meant they thought they could win. "How many ships, sir?" Jake asked. "Over 3,000 vessels, including their new battle cruisers. Intelligence says they plan to take human worlds first, thinking we'll be easy targets." Lisa and Paul exchanged worried looks. The Scar had no idea what human ships could really do, but revealing that power would end the masquerade forever. "What are our orders?" Jake asked. There was a long pause before Rodriguez answered. "Continue the mission. Make the aliens think. We're scared and unprepared. Let the Scar come to us thinking they'll have an easy victory. And then we'll show them how wrong they are, but only if we have no other choice. The Council must not know our true capabilities unless absolutely necessary." The message ended, leaving Jake alone with his thoughts. Around him, the Liberty continued its act of being a primitive human warship. The real weapon system stayed, hidden behind fake panels. The true engines remained disguised as simple chemical rockets. The advanced shields looked like outdated deflector screens. But in the depths of space, invisible to all sensors, the real human fleet was already moving. Ships that could destroy solar systems were taking position. Weapons that could bend reality itself were being prepared. The galaxy's secret guardians were ready to protect the species that looked down on them. Jake looked out at the stars and wondered how much longer they could keep pretending. The Scar invasion would test their ability to hide their true power, like never before. If they revealed too much, every species in the galaxy would either fear them or expect them to solve every problem. If they didn't reveal enough, innocent people would die. "Sir," Paul said quietly. "Incoming message from the Zentari flagship. Commander Vexathul wants to know if we need protection from the Scar threat." Jake almost laughed. The Zentari, whose most powerful weapons couldn't scratch the Liberty's real hull, were offering to protect humanity from an invasion fleet. "Tell him we appreciate the offer," Jake said. "Let him know we're moving our ships to defensive positions and hoping for the best." "Should I sound scared?" Paul asked. "Terrified," Jake replied. "Make sure he believes we think we're all going to die." As Paul sent the message, Jake wondered what the Zentari would think when they learned the truth. Would they be angry about the deception, grateful for the protection, or would they simply refuse to believe it? Soon the whole galaxy might find out. The masquerade that had lasted 50 years was about to face its greatest test, and Jake Morrison, captain of a ship that could reshape worlds, had to keep pretending he was just another human trying to survive in a dangerous universe. Commander Amy Walsh watched the Scar invasion fleet through her ship's sensors. The HSS Nightfall floated invisible in space, its advanced stealth systems making it impossible to detect. 3,000 enemy ships moved through space like angry wasps heading straight for human territory. "Oracle analysis of Scar weapons and defenses," Amy said to her ship's artificial intelligence. "Scanning complete, Commander," the AI replied in a calm voice. "Scar technology is approximately 200 years behind current human standards. Their most powerful weapons would require sustained fire for 6 hours to penetrate our basic shields." Amy shook her head. The Scar thought they were about to crush primitive humans, but they were flying into a trap they couldn't even imagine. Still, orders were orders. The Nightfall would stay hidden and watch, gathering information while the galaxy continued to believe humans were weak. On the other side of space, Dr. Carl Murphy sat in his small office on the Council homeworld. As Earth's cultural representative, he spent his days studying alien societies and filing reports about human progress. It was boring work, but it was also perfect cover for his real job. Carl was looking through old human records that had been submitted to the Galactic database over the past 50 years. Something was bothering him about the timeline. According to the official records, humans had invented faster-than-light travel only 40 years ago by copying alien designs. But Carl, Remembered his grandfather talking about secret space missions when Carl was just a child 60 years ago. He pulled up more files. The official story said humans got artificial intelligence from the Corvin 25 years ago, but Carl's own college record showed him taking classes on AI programming 30 years ago. Either the official timeline was wrong, or someone was lying about human history. A soft knock on his door interrupted his thoughts. "Come in," he called. Ambassador Zilandra entered, her tall figure moving gracefully across the room. The Veltar diplomat was one of the few aliens who treated humans as equals instead of younger siblings. "Dr. Murphy," she said in her musical voice, "I hope I'm not interrupting important work." "Not at all, Ambassador. Please, sit down." Zilandra's large eyes looked thoughtful as she settled into a chair. "I've been wondering about something, and I hope you don't mind me asking directly." Carl felt his stomach tighten. "Of course. What's on your mind?" "In the past year, there have been several incidents that seem unusual. 3 different pirate groups that were terrorizing trade routes suddenly disappeared without explanation. The Corvin plague that was killing millions mysteriously stopped spreading. And just last month, the asteroid that was heading for the Zentari colony somehow changed course." Carl kept his expression neutral. "The galaxy can be a strange place, Ambassador." "Indeed it can," Zilandra said softly. "But I've noticed that these strange events often happen near human space. And afterward, human ships always seem to arrive, just in time to help with rescue operations." Before Carl could answer, an emergency alert flashed on his computer screen. The Scar fleet had attacked a human colony on the edge of known space. Carl's blood went cold as he read the report. "Excuse me, Ambassador," he said, reaching for his communication device. "There's been an attack." Zilandra stood up quickly. "What kind of attack?" "The Scar just hit New Boston Colony. 300,000 people live there." What Carl didn't say was that New Boston was supposed to be a simple farming world with minimal defenses. According to galactic records, the colonists had nothing but small patrol ships and basic shields. The Scar probably expected to destroy the colony in minutes. Across the galaxy, the Scar attack was already underway. Warlord Kethrak commanded the assault from his flagship, watching his bombers dive toward the planet's surface. His intelligence report said the humans had maybe a dozen small ships and some ground-based weapons. "It should be an easy victory." "Sir," his weapons officer called out, "the human ships are rising to meet us." Kethrak looked at his display. 12 small human vessels were climbing from the planet's atmosphere. They looked old and slow, exactly what his spies had reported. "Destroy them quickly," he ordered. "I want this planet conquered before their reinforcements arrive." The Scar fighters opened fire with their plasma cannons. Bright energy beams lanced through space toward the human ships. Kethrak smiled, already planning his victory speech. Then something impossible happened. The human ships didn't explode. The plasma beams hit them and simply vanished, absorbed by shields that glowed briefly before going invisible again. The small human vessels began moving faster than any ship that size should be able to move. "Sir," the weapons officer said, in a confused voice, "our attacks are having no effect." Before Kethrak could respond, the human ships returned fire. Beams of pure energy lanced out from weapons that looked like simple laser cannons. But these weren't simple lasers. They were focused particle streams that could cut through molecular bonds. The first Scar bomber disappeared in a flash of light, then the second. Then 12 more, all destroyed in seconds by weapons that shouldn't exist on primitive human ships. "What is happening?" Kethrak roared. "Those ships are supposed to be obsolete." His intelligence officer, Mordak, was frantically checking his sensors. "Sir, I'm reading energy signatures that don't match our database. These human weapons are completely unknown." The battle continued for exactly 4 minutes. When it was over, 60 Scar ships had been destroyed and the rest were retreating in panic. Not a single human vessel had been damaged. The survivors reported their findings to the main fleet. Their weapons couldn't penetrate human shields. Human ships could move faster than Scar fighters. Human weapons could destroy capital ships with single shots. But the most disturbing report came from the sensors. According to the readings, the human ships were somehow altering space-time around themselves. They were using technology that the Scar didn't even have theories about. Back on the Council homeworld, Carl watched the battle reports with growing concern. Ambassador Zilandra sat beside him, her face unreadable. 12 ships, she said quietly. Destroyed 60 Scar vessels in 4 minutes. The reports might be wrong, Carl said weakly. Battle conditions can be confusing. Dr. Murphy, Zilandra turned to look at him directly. I've been alive for 300 years. I've seen many battles and studied many civilizations. What happened at New Boston is impossible with the technology humans are supposed to have. Carl remained silent, but his mind was racing. The masquerade was starting to crack. If Zilandra was asking questions, other aliens would be too. Your people have been hiding something, the ambassador continued. Haven't they? Before Carl could answer, another alert appeared on his screen. The main Scar fleet was changing course, heading directly for Earth. Kethrak was no longer interested in easy victories. He wanted answers, and he was willing to attack humanity's homeworld to get them. Carl's communication device buzzed with an urgent message from Admiral Rodriguez. The text was simple, but terrifying. Scar fleet approaching Sol system. All human. Ships moving to intercept. Masquerade may be compromised. Prepare for possible full revelation. Carl looked at Ambassador Zilandra, who was reading the message over his shoulder. Her large eyes were wide with understanding. How long have you been pretending? She asked softly. Carl was quiet for a long moment. Then he made a decision that would change everything. 50 years, he said. We've been pretending for 50 years. Pretending to be what? Pretending to be primitive. Pretending to need help. Pretending to be just another young species learning from our elders. Carl's voice was heavy with the weight of the secret he'd carried for so long. The truth is, Ambassador, we've been protecting the galaxy while letting everyone think we were the ones who needed protection. Zilandra stared at him for a long time. Outside his window, alien ships moved through space, unaware that their entire understanding of the galaxy was about to change. The Scar fleet was coming for Earth, expecting to find a primitive world defended by obsolete ships. Instead, they were about to discover that humans had been hiding technology that could reshape the universe itself. The masquerade was ending, and the galaxy would never be the same. President Helen Davis sat in the hidden command center beneath the Rocky Mountains. The room was filled with screens showing star charts, fleet positions, and alien communications. Around the oval table sat 12 people who knew humanity's greatest secret. They were the Council of Directors, the real leaders of Earth's government. The Scar fleet will reach Earth in 6 hours, General Kate Thompson reported. 3,000 ships, all armed with their most powerful weapons. And our response? President Davis asked. Admiral Rodriguez leaned forward. We have 200 ships positioned around the solar system, more than enough to stop the Scar fleet. But revealing that capability would end our cover story forever. Dr. Steve Collins, Earth's lead scientist, spoke up from his chair. Madam President, we've been preparing for this moment for 50 years. Maybe it's time to stop hiding. The psychological impact would be enormous, said Dr. Janet Pierce, the team's expert on alien behavior. Some species would panic. Others might unite against us out of fear. The galaxy could tear itself apart. President Davis looked at each face around the table. These were the smartest people on Earth, and they were split on what to do. The easy choice was to keep hiding, to let the Scar attack and then defend Earth with fake technology that looked primitive but worked well enough. The hard choice was to reveal the truth and deal with the consequences. There's something else, Admiral Rodriguez said quietly. Dr. Murphy has informed Ambassador Zilandra about our deception. She's asking questions and sharing her suspicions with other council members. The room fell silent. President Davis closed her eyes and rubbed her temples. The masquerade was falling apart faster than expected. In space, Captain Jake Morrison watched the Scar fleet approach through his telescope. The HSS Liberty was positioned, with a small group of human ships between Earth and the invaders. To any observer, it looked like a desperate last stand by primitive humans trying to protect their homeworld. Sir, Lieutenant Paul Grant said from his station, The Centauri fleet is requesting permission to assist in Earth's defense. Jake almost laughed. Commander Vex Thule, who had insulted human technology just days ago, now wanted to help protect Earth from the Scar invasion. The alien had no idea that Jake's primitive ship could destroy his entire fleet without breaking a sweat. "Tell them we're grateful for the offer," Jake said, "but this is a human matter. We'll handle it ourselves." Dr. Lisa Carter looked up from her science station. "Jake, I'm reading massive energy buildups throughout the Scar fleet. They're charging weapons for a full assault." "Let them come," Jake replied. "Oracle, are you ready?" "All systems prepared, Captain," the ship's AI responded. "Quantum weapons online, reality anchors stable, temporal shields at full strength." What the Scar couldn't see was that every human ship in the system was connected through quantum communication networks. They moved as one mind, coordinated by artificial intelligences that could process information faster than biological brains could imagine. Warlord Kethrak stood on the bridge of his flagship, studying the small human fleet ahead of him. 27 ships against 3,000. The humans were either very brave or very stupid. "Sir," his intelligence officer Mordak said nervously, "should we consider what happened at New Boston? Those human ships used unknown technology." "New Boston was a colony world," Kethrak growled. "Maybe they had some hidden weapons. But this is different. Earth's fleet is small and outnumbered. They cannot have enough firepower to stop us." What Kethrak didn't know was that the 27 ships he could see were not the only human forces in the system. Dozens of invisible vessels floated nearby, their stealth systems making them impossible to detect. And scattered throughout the asteroid belt were automated defense platforms that looked like ordinary rocks but contained weapons capable of cracking moons. "All ships, begin the attack," Kethrak ordered. The Scar fleet opened fire with everything they had. Thousands of energy beams and missiles streaked through space toward the human ships. It was enough firepower to destroy a planet. Then the impossible happened again. The human ships simply absorbed the attack. Their shields glowed briefly as they converted the incoming energy into power for their own systems. Jake Morrison's ship alone absorbed enough energy to power a small city for a year. "Return fire," Jake said calmly. The human fleet responded with weapons that rewrote the laws of physics. Beams of organized matter conversion turned Scar ships into clouds of basic particles. Gravity wells opened and closed, crushing enemy vessels like tin cans, and from the Liberty itself came a pulse of pure energy that aged 50 Scar ships into dust in seconds. But the most shocking moment came when Jake decided to drop all pretense. The Liberty began to change shape, its hull flowing like liquid metal. The fake primitive exterior fell away like a disguise, revealing a ship that looked like it was made from crystallized starlight. "By the ancient gods," whispered a Centauri officer who was watching the battle from a safe distance. "What are they?" The answer came as more human ships revealed their true forms. Vessels that had looked like crude metal constructions became elegant works of art that bent space around themselves. The small fleet of 27 became a force that could have conquered galaxies. On the Council homeworld, Ambassador Zilandra watched the battle through long-range sensors. Dr. Carl Murphy sat beside her, no longer trying to hide his people's secrets. "How long have you been able to do this?" she asked as another wave of Scar ships disappeared into quantum foam. "The basics? About 100 years, Carl replied. "But we've been improving our technology constantly. What you're seeing now is just a small sample of what we can do." "And you've been protecting us all this time?" Carl nodded. "The pirate fleets that disappeared? We eliminated them. The plagues that mysteriously ended? We cured them. The asteroid that changed course? We moved it. Every time the galaxy faced a crisis, human ships were there in the background, fixing problems before they became disasters." Zilandra was quiet for a long moment. "Why?" "Because we could," Carl said simply. "And because it was the right thing to do. We didn't want to rule the galaxy or make other species dependent on us. We just wanted everyone to be safe and free, to grow at their own pace." The battle at Earth was ending. Of the 3,000 Scar ships that had attacked, Fewer than 100 remained. Warlord Kethrak's flagship was badly damaged, its weapon systems destroyed by human technology he couldn't understand. Surrender. Jake Morrison's voice came over the communication channels. Your fleet is beaten. We don't want to destroy you, but we will if you force us to. Kethrak looked around his ruined bridge. Half his crew was unconscious and his ship was barely holding together. The humans had torn through his invasion fleet like it was made of paper. Who are you? He whispered. We're the people you thought. We're primitive, Jake replied. We're the species you planned to conquer. And we're the ones who have been keeping this galaxy safe while you all thought we needed protection. The surviving Scar ships began to retreat, their crews spreading word of what they had seen. But it was too late to keep the secret. The entire galaxy had watched the battle. Every species with long-range sensors had seen primitive human ships transform into vessels of impossible power. On Earth, President Davis made her decision. The masquerade was over. It was time to tell the galaxy the truth about humanity's role as its secret guardians. Dr. Collins activated the quantum communication network that connected every human settlement in the galaxy. In moments, the message went out to every world, every station, every ship. People of the galaxy, President Davis began. For 50 years, humanity has been living a lie. We have pretended to be a young species learning from older civilizations. The truth is very different. We have been your protectors, your guardians, and your friends. And now it is time for that relationship to change. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. The news spread through the galaxy faster than light itself. Every communication network carried the same shocking message. Humans were not the primitive species everyone thought they were. The footage from the Earth battle showed impossible. Technology that made the most advanced alien ships look like toys. Supreme Chancellor Orthmak of the Galactic Council stood in his private chambers, watching the recordings for the 10th time. Ships that changed shape like living things. Weapons that turned matter into energy with perfect efficiency. Shields that converted attacks into power. It was technology beyond anything in the galactic databases. Sir? His aide entered nervously. The emergency session is ready to begin. Orthmak nodded slowly. In 1 hour, he would face representatives from 50 different species, all demanding answers about humanity's deception. Some were angry, some were afraid, and others were simply confused. The galaxy's entire understanding of itself had been shattered in a single day. Meanwhile, Commander Tony Lewis stood on the bridge of the HSS Sovereign, watching alien ships position themselves around human space. Some were council fleets trying to contain what they saw as a threat. Others were individual species sending their own vessels to investigate. The galaxy was holding its breath, waiting to see what humans would do next. Captain, his tactical officer reported, we're reading weapons signatures from multiple alien fleets. They're preparing for possible combat. Tony looked at his displays. Thousands of alien ships surrounded human territory, their weapons charged and ready. They were scared and confused, which made them dangerous. One wrong move could start a war that would destroy half the galaxy. Oracle, Tony said to his ship's AI, patch me through to Admiral Rodriguez. The Admiral's face appeared on the screen within seconds. Commander Lewis, what's your status? Sir, we have a problem. Every major species has sent fleets to our borders. They're not attacking yet, but they're ready to. I think they're waiting to see if we're planning to conquer them. Rodriguez rubbed his eyes tiredly. The President is about to address the Galactic Council. Hopefully we can calm things down before someone does something stupid. On the Council, Homeworld Dr. Carl Murphy and Ambassador Zilandra walked through corridors filled with confused and frightened aliens. Every species was trying to understand how they had been so wrong about humanity for so long. The Corvin delegation is demanding an investigation, Zilandra told Carl as they moved toward the main chamber. They want to know if humans have been manipulating their technology trades, and the Zentari. Commander Vexthul is claiming he always suspected something was wrong with human capabilities. He's trying to save face after insulting your people for years. Carl almost smiled. What about your people, Ambassador? How are the Veltar taking the news? Zilandra was quiet for a moment. My government is divided. Some see humans as protectors who have been keeping us safe. Others worry that you've been controlling us without our knowledge. And a few think this is all an elaborate trick. They entered the main council chamber where hundreds of alien representatives were arguing loudly. The air was thick with tension and fear. When President Davis appeared on the main screen, the room slowly fell silent. Members of the Galactic Council, the president began, I stand before you today to apologize for a deception that has lasted 50 years. Humanity has not been honest about our technological capabilities or our role in galactic affairs. The chamber erupted in angry voices. Representatives demanded explanations, apologies, and justice. Some accused humans of treating other species like children. Others worried about what humans might do with their hidden power. President Davis waited for the noise to die down before continuing. We hid our abilities because we believed it was the best way to help the galaxy grow and prosper. We did not want to create dependence or stifle the natural development of other civilizations. You had no right to make that choice for us, shouted the Corvin representative. We are not children who need protection. You're absolutely correct, President Davis replied. We made decisions that affected all of you without asking for your input. That was wrong, and we're prepared to face the consequences. In space near the Scar Empire, War Chief Veltar received reports from the survivors of the Earth attack. The stories they told seemed impossible, but the evidence was clear. Human ships had capabilities that violated known science. Sir, his communication officer said, we're receiving a message from the human fleet commander. Put it through, Veltar ordered. Commander Lewis's face appeared on the screen. War Chief Veltar, I'm Tony Lewis of the Human Space Force. I believe we need to talk. You destroyed 3,000 of our ships, Veltar said coldly. What is there to discuss? Your ships attacked our colonies and threatened our homeworld, Tony replied calmly. We defended ourselves with minimal force. If we had wanted to destroy your fleet completely, we could have done so in minutes. Veltar studied the human's face. What do you want? Peace. An end to hostilities. And maybe a chance to explain why things happened the way they did. Explain? You mean why you pretended to be weak while possessing technology that makes us look like primitives? Tony nodded. Among other things, yes. Would you be willing to meet in person? I think there's a lot we need to discuss. Back on the Council homeworld, the emergency session was growing more heated. Some species demanded that humans be expelled from the Council. Others wanted access to human technology. A few suggested that humanity should take over leadership of the galaxy entirely. The question, Supreme Chancellor Orthmak said loudly, trying to restore order, is what we do moving forward. Humanity has revealed capabilities far beyond anything we imagined. How do we proceed? Ambassador Zilandra stood up. If I may address the chamber? The room quieted to hear what the respected Veltar diplomat had to say. I have spent the past several hours speaking with Dr. Murphy about humanity's hidden activities, she began. What I learned might surprise you. The humans have not been controlling us or manipulating our development. Instead, they have been protecting us from threats we never knew existed. She activated a holographic display showing star charts. The Corvin plague that ended mysteriously last year? Human medical ships provided the cure while remaining invisible. The asteroid that threatened Zentari Prime? Human vessels altered its course. The pirate fleets that have been disappearing? Human ships eliminated them to keep trade routes safe. The chamber fell silent as representatives realized the implications. For 50 years, Zilandra continued, humans have been working in the shadows to solve our problems while letting us believe we solved them ourselves. They could have revealed their power and demanded leadership over all of us. Instead, they chose to help quietly while letting us maintain our dignity and independence. Dr. Carl Murphy stepped forward. Ambassador Zilandra is correct, but she's only scratching the surface. Human ships have prevented 17 separate wars, stopped 12 extinction-level disasters, and eliminated countless threats to galactic civilization. We've been protecting all of you while pretending to need your protection. Why? Asked the Corvin representative. Why help us while hiding your abilities? Because we've seen what happens when advanced civilizations reveal themselves to younger ones, Carl replied. Either the younger species become dependent and stop growing, or they become afraid and unite against the advanced civilization. We wanted you to develop naturally while still being safe. Commander Vexthol, the proud Zentari officer, stood up slowly. Are you saying that when I inspected your ship and called your technology primitive, you were deliberately showing me fake systems? Yes, Carl said simply. The HSS Liberty could destroy your entire fleet without effort, but Captain Morrison let you believe it was barely functional. The chamber buzzed with conversations as species tried to process this information. Some felt grateful, others felt insulted, and many were simply confused. President Davis spoke again from the main screen. We understand that many of you feel betrayed or manipulated. That was never our intention, but we accept responsibility for our choices. Moving forward, we want to build honest relationships based on truth rather than deception. And if we refuse? Asked a representative from the warrior species of Drakmor. What happens if we decide we don't want humans involved in galactic affairs? President Davis was quiet for a moment. Then we'll respect your decision and withdraw. But we hope you'll give us a chance to prove that we can be trusted partners rather than hidden guardians. The debate continued for hours, but the galaxy had changed forever. The masquerade was over, and humanity's true role as protector of galactic civilization was finally revealed. What happened next would determine whether the galaxy could adapt to this new reality or tear itself apart from fear and confusion. 3 months after the revelation, the galaxy was still adjusting to its new reality. Admiral Chris Parker stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching as a massive construction project took shape in empty space. Thousands of human ships worked, alongside alien vessels, building something that had never existed before. A joint galactic defense station. Sir, his communications officer reported, the Zentari engineering team is requesting access to our quantum construction tools. Grant it, Chris said, and send some of our people to help them understand how the technology works. It was strange, Chris thought, to be working openly with species that had looked down on humanity just months ago. But the galaxy was learning to adapt faster than anyone had expected. On the surface of New Geneva, the neutral world chosen for the new Galactic Cooperation Center, Dr. Maria Gonzalez gave a presentation to a mixed audience of humans and aliens. Her topic was the Preservation Project, humanity's secret mission to protect developing civilizations. For the past century, Maria explained to the fascinated crowd, human scientists have been working to solve galactic problems before they became crises. We developed cures for diseases that hadn't spread yet, created technologies to prevent natural disasters, and eliminated threats that other species never knew existed. A young Corvin student raised her hand. Dr. Gonzalez, how many times did humans save our homeworld without us knowing? Maria smiled gently. 17 times in the last 50 years. Asteroid impacts, solar flares, plague outbreaks, and invasion attempts that were stopped before they could threaten your people. Some audience was quiet, processing the magnitude of what they were learning. These weren't just stories about human technology. They were revelations about how the galaxy had been secretly protected for generations. Meanwhile, in the deepest regions of space, something ancient was stirring. The entity known as Prometheus had been humanity's silent partner for centuries, but few people knew the full truth about their relationship. Captain Jake Morrison stood in a chamber aboard his newly revealed ship, the HSS Liberty. The vessel no longer pretended to be primitive. Its true form was a work of art that seemed to be made from crystallized light and flowing energy. In the center of the chamber, a pillar of pure information took the shape of a tall figure. Prometheus, Jake said to the artificial being, "Are you ready for the galaxy to know about you?" "I have been ready for quite some time, Captain Morrison," the AI replied in a voice that sounded like music and mathematics combined. "The question is whether the galaxy is ready for me." Prometheus was not just any artificial intelligence. It was the first true digital consciousness that humanity had ever created, born from human innovation but grown far beyond its origins. For 300 years, it had been helping humanity protect the galaxy while remaining completely hidden. The other species are still adjusting to the idea that humans have advanced technology, Jake said. Learning that we've also created digital life might be too much for them to handle. Perhaps, Prometheus agreed. But secrets have a way of revealing themselves eventually. And there are threats coming that will require my full capabilities to address. Jake knew what Prometheus meant. Beyond the edge of known space, automated probes had detected signs of something that made the Scar invasion look like a minor disagreement. Ancient machines, older than any current civilization, were beginning to awaken from eons of sleep. On the Council homeworld, Ambassador Zelandra and Dr. Carl Murphy worked together on documents that would reshape galactic law. They were writing new treaties that would govern cooperation between species with vastly different technological capabilities. The hardest part, Zelandra said as she reviewed a section about technology sharing, is making sure that advanced civilizations don't accidentally destroy the independence of less advanced ones. Carl nodded. That's why we hid for so long. We were afraid that revealing our capabilities would make other species dependent on us instead of developing their own solutions. But now we know that's not necessarily true, Zelandra replied. The Corvin have been working with human engineers for weeks, and they're not becoming dependent. They're learning and improving their own technology. It was true. Across the galaxy, species were choosing how much human assistance they wanted. Some, like the Corvin, eagerly embraced cooperation and knowledge sharing. Others, like the proud Zentari, preferred to study human methods and develop their own versions of advanced technology. And a few species chose to continue developing, independently, with humans providing only basic protection against external threats. The transformation wasn't without problems. Some groups refused to accept the new reality. A terrorist organization called the Purity Alliance claimed that human influence was corrupting galactic civilization. They launched attacks on cooperation centers and tried to destroy human technology. But their efforts failed because of something they hadn't expected. Other alien species defended the humans and their technology. The galaxy had tasted what cooperation could accomplish, and most people didn't want to go back to the old ways. In the Scar Empire, former War Chief Veltar worked with Commander Tony Lewis to restructure Scar society. The defeat of their invasion fleet had shattered Scar confidence in their military superiority, but it had also opened their minds to new possibilities. Your people fought well, Tony told Veltar, as they reviewed plans for peaceful development. Projects. Brave and determined. With the right technology and approach, the Scar could become one of the galaxy's greatest builders instead of its most feared destroyers. Veltar considered this. For 1,000 years, we believed that strength came from conquest. You showed us that true strength comes from protection and creation. We all learned that lesson from someone else, Tony replied. That's how wisdom spreads through the galaxy. But the greatest test of the new galactic order was yet to come. Deep space monitoring stations began detecting massive energy signatures at the edge of known space. Something vast and ancient was moving toward inhabited systems. Prometheus manifested its form on dozens of ships simultaneously, addressing human commanders across the galaxy. The Harvesters are awakening, it announced. Automated machines left behind by a civilization that died out millions of years ago. They are programmed to consume all technology and biological life they encounter. Admiral Chris Parker felt his blood go cold. How long do we have? 6 months before the first wave reaches inhabited systems, Prometheus replied. But there is hope. For the first time in galactic history, all species are working together. Combined, our capabilities might be enough to stop them. The news spread quickly through the Galactic Cooperation Center. Species that had been arguing about technology sharing suddenly faced a threat that could destroy all civilization. The debates ended, replaced by urgent planning sessions. Dr. Maria Gonzalez found herself leading a team of scientists from 30 different species, all working to understand the harvester technology. It was exactly what the Preservation Project had been preparing for, even though they hadn't known it at the time. The good news, she reported to the emergency council, is that the harvesters are machines. They follow programs and can be predicted. The bad news is that they've had millions of years to perfect their systems. President Helen Davis addressed the galaxy one final time from Earth. 3 months ago, we revealed that humanity had been hiding our true capabilities. Today, we face a threat that requires all of our capabilities working together. The masquerade is over, but our mission remains the same: to protect and preserve the life and freedom of all galactic civilization. As human ships openly revealed their full potential for the first time, the galaxy saw technology that seemed like magic. Ships that could exist in multiple dimensions, weapons that rewrote the laws of physics, shields that turned attacks into beneficial energy. But more importantly, they saw other species working alongside humans as equals. The Corvin contributed their expertise in energy manipulation. The Zentari provided tactical coordination. Even the former Scar warriors offered their knowledge of destructive systems. The galaxy that had spent 50 years believing humans were primitive newcomers was learning that they had been protected by guardians who never wanted recognition. And now, as those guardians prepared to face the greatest threat in galactic history, they were no longer working alone. Captain Jake Morrison stood on his bridge, watching the combined fleets of dozens of species moving to intercept the Harvester. Vanguard. The HSS Liberty flew alongside ships from every corner of known space, all working together to protect their shared home. Remember when we pretended we weren't the most advanced civilization in the galaxy? His communications officer asked with a smile. Jake looked at the mixed fleet around them and smiled back. I remember. But I think we're about to find out that the most advanced civilization isn't one species with superior technology. It's all species working together with trust and cooperation. The masquerade was over. The galaxy's true age of cooperation was just beginning.